We begin this hour with the Supreme Court ruling that is dealing a major legal blow to the Trump administration's crackdown on immigration. On Tuesday, the court rejected President Trump's bid to deploy National Guard troops to Illinois, including in the Chicago area, over the objections of local officials. The decision marks a rare defeat for President Trump from the conservative majority court. NBC News legal analyst Danny Savalos is standing by with more on what the ruling will mean. But we begin with NBC News Washington correspondent Alice Barr, who has the latest details. Alice, good morning.
Good morning, Jessica. The High Court's conservative majority split in this ruling. The justices noted federal law generally blocks using the military for law enforcement and found that the government failed to identify a source of authority that would allow the military to execute the laws in Illinois. This morning, the Trump administration weighing its next moves after the Supreme Court blocked an effort to deploy National Guard troops in Illinois in a crime crackdown. The Illinois governor calling the ruling a win for democracy and a, quote, important step in curbing the Trump administration's consistent abuse of power. He has vocally opposed troops coming into Chicago, saying it's not necessary and not what residents want.
They want civilian law enforcement when they need them, and jobs, and after-school programs for kids in the neighborhoods. They do not want Donald Trump to occupy their communities.
A White House spokesperson writing that President Trump, quote, activated the National Guard to protect federal law enforcement officers and to ensure rioters did not destroy federal buildings and property. Nothing in today's ruling detracts from that core agenda, noting the troops support immigration enforcement officers and that the administration will keep working to safeguard the public. President Trump has long defended his National Guard strategy.
We have the right to do it, because I have an obligation to protect this country.
The High Court justices rejected the Trump administration's claims that Chicago has become so lawless it justifies invoking a law allowing the president to call National Guard troops into federal service in extreme situations like a rebellion. The ruling is a rare rebuke from the conservative Supreme Court, and while it's preliminary and only for Illinois, it's likely to bolster similar challenges to National Guard deployments in other American cities. And other cities that have challenged National Guard deployments include Los Angeles, Portland, Oregon, and here in Washington, D.C. Jessica?
All right, Alice, thank you. And for more on all of this, let's bring in NBC News legal analyst Danny Savalos. Danny, good morning. The court order said that President Trump could only call up the military where they could, quote, legally execute the laws and that the power is limited. So what laws are in place limiting the president's use of force, and how do they apply here?
No, I don't think this was as much of a split among the conservative justices as you might think, and here's why. The determination all comes down to a part of the statute that says that the president can call up the National Guard if he is unable to execute the laws with the regular forces. As is often the case, it comes down to a few words, and here those two words are regular forces. What are the regular forces that the president's unable to execute the laws with? Does that mean all law enforcement? That's what they argue. They say, well, this is ICE, and we're not able to execute the laws with ICE, so we need help. Or does it mean regular forces, the regular military? And that is the key. And in that space, that is where Justice Kavanaugh does agree with the liberal majority that regular forces means, the statute means, the president can only call up the National Guard if he's unable with the regular military to execute the laws of the United States. And here's the thing. There are very, very few laws that the president is allowed to execute with the military anyway. And even if so, the president hasn't really articulated that, so he doesn't get to use that law. And then here's the kicker. All of this is dealing with temporary restraining orders of temporary restraining orders. In other words, we're staying a stay of a stay of a stay of a stay. All of this is about a pause until we determine what we're going to do on the merits. So this really isn't even a true forecast of where the court's going to go.
Well, right. Obviously, the ruling is a preliminary one, only involving the city of Chicago at the moment. But could it be expanded to the other cities, such as D.C., Portland, where leaders there have protested the National Guard deployment so far?
Yes, it could, only insofar that we're talking about a stay, a temporary stay, because that's what's happened at the district court level. The district court level has said, wait, while we figure this out, we have to do one of two things. Does the president get to temporarily put National Guard troops in these places, or does he not? And that's all, really. We're just determining what we're going to do while we figure this out on the merits. So, yes, this could be used elsewhere. Obviously, it's a Supreme Court ruling, so it's precedent throughout the land in federal courts. But it does not definitively tell us where the court will land eventually. By the way, look no further than Kavanaugh's concurring opinion. His point is that, well, look, it's not necessarily that the president is wrong. He just hasn't articulated the grounds under the statute, suggesting that if he just goes back to the drawing board and articulates the grounds that would warrant using the National Guard, then he might be able to. And he'd be awarded a lot of deference. In other words, the court, at least Kavanaugh, would really give a lot of deference to the president on that determination. So I'm not so sure that Kavanaugh is squarely with the liberals on this one.
We know that Donald Trump and Donald Trump's White House rarely take no for an answer. So aside from going back and articulating the argument, are there other legal options if they wanted to push back on this?
Basically, you hit on it. They have to go back and articulate, at least for the conservative justices who are willing to listen, a specific reason why the president is unable with the regular forces, meaning the military, and that's how he'll get there if he can do it. He may not be able to do it. He's going to have to articulate that with the military, he's unable to execute the laws of the United States. And once again, the president is not allowed to execute a lot of laws with the military. So this is a very short list.
I look forward to seeing how this all turns out. Danny Cevallos, thank you so much. Well, there is fresh new fallout in Washington this morning following the Justice Department's biggest release of documents related to Jeffrey Epstein so far. On Tuesday, the department released tens of thousands of new files connected to the convicted sex offender amid mounting pressure to release all of them. Some of the documents mention President Trump, but the FBI says not all of them are real, and the DOJ says they made untrue and unfounded claims. NBC News Chief Capitol Hill correspondent Ryan Nobles has the details from Washington.
The Justice Department releasing its biggest batch yet of documents related to the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, including this fake Austrian passport with Epstein's photo and a false name. The new release also includes documents that mention President Trump. In one email, a federal prosecutor, citing flight logs, says Trump was a passenger on at least 8 flights between 1993 and 1996, between New York and Florida on Epstein's jet. That he traveled with his then-wife Marla Maples, daughter Tiffany, and son Eric. And saying on another flight, the only 3 passengers are Epstein, Trump, and a 20-year-old whose name is redacted. The files also include this handwritten note, purportedly written by Epstein and sent to Dr. Larry Nassar, another notorious sex offender, including the quote, "Our president also shares our love of young nubile girls." The Justice Department says the FBI concluded the letter is fake, saying the FBI determined the writing does not appear to match Jeffrey Epstein's. The letter was postmarked 3 days after Epstein's death and was sent from Northern Virginia when Epstein was jailed in New York. And that it did not include his inmate number, which is required for outgoing mail, calling it a reminder. Just because a document is released by the Department of Justice does not make the allegations or claims within the document factual. The president has said he broke off his relationship with Epstein decades ago, and President Trump has never been accused of any wrongdoing related to Epstein. Also revealed in the documents, in 2019, the FBI discussed interviewing 10 potential co-conspirators. The top Senate Democrat wants more information on who they are and why they chose not to prosecute.
Ryan, thank you. Newly released data shows the resilient U.S. economy grew more than expected in the third quarter. GDP rose by 4.3% during the period, despite a lot of worries over inflation and, of course, tariffs. And that is the best quarter of economic growth for the U.S. in 2 years. Joining us now is Caleb Silver. He's Investopedia's editor-in-chief and chief business editor at People Inc. Caleb, thanks for being here today. I'm curious, what were the reasons behind the jump, and how big a surprise was it to you?
Yeah, big spending, and we are big spenders in this country. Consumer spending was very strong. That came in at 3.5%, and business spending 2.8%. You add those two together, you get this type of growth. And consumer spending, that is us spending money on services, on health care, on travel, on groceries. That's 70% of GDP. So we were spending strong going back into the third quarter. Remember, this report is a few months old now. It was delayed because of the government shutdown, but maybe a lot of people were worried about those tariffs. So we're spending ahead of that, bringing a lot of products in and doing that spending earlier in the year.
Is there anything in the report that indicates the growth impacting everyone across all classes, or is this the rich are spending more situation?
Well, we're all spending more because prices are higher. That's inflation. But if you look inside the report, especially in the services part, that's airline tickets. International travel was very strong. A lot of people traveling to Europe, a lot of the wealthy doing experiential travel, spending that forward. So you see a lot of that. You see spending in IT, in building out those data centers on the part of businesses. That was very aggressive in the first part of the third quarter as well. So this shows that a lot of companies were spending because they were worried about tariffs, and a lot of consumers were spending. It was summer, don't forget, and the wealthy have been doing very well. If you look at the stock market, record highs. Asset prices like homes, record highs.
How is the average American supposed to reconcile this information with the fact that we still hear about affordability, affordability, affordability? Milk is expensive. Eggs are expensive. My Christmas dinner is expensive. How do we reconcile all of that? And are we in good shape then heading into the new year?
Yeah, affordability is our term of the year at Investopedia because so many people are worried about it. They're worried about the impact of tariffs. They're worried about these rising costs of the things that they actually need, not necessarily the wants, and things like health insurance, things like food costs keep going up. So, yeah, Americans are in better shape than we feel. Consumer confidence is at a multi-year low. We feel terrible about the economy, but we continue to spend. We're really good at it, especially around holiday shopping season. But we've been good at it so far throughout the year.
So real quick, are we spending way more than we need to be or than we should be?
Yeah, well, some people are, and that's why you see mounting credit card debt, and that's why you see delinquencies starting to rise. But the wealthy are doing well, and they're driving a lot of the spending. That's probably going to continue into next year.
Caleb Silver, thanks so much. Great insight on this. Thank you. This morning, crews are still digging through the debris from a massive explosion in Pennsylvania in search of other possible victims. Authorities say a suspected natural gas explosion collapsed part of a nursing home just outside of Philadelphia. Officials adding that at least 2 people are dead so far, at least 5 unaccounted for. NBC News senior national correspondent Stephanie Gosk has more on the harrowing rescue efforts just ahead of Christmas.
Pennsylvania's governor with the early casualty numbers from the explosion at a nursing home.
We know that at this time, there are at least 2 fatalities. We know that there are some number of individuals still missing.
Officials saying rescue efforts are still underway.
Investigations underway as to what caused that explosion. We believe preliminarily that it was a gas leak.
The explosion tore through the nursing home in eastern Pennsylvania, leveling a portion of the building and igniting a blaze that filled the sky with black smoke.
Reporting explosion inside building.
Fire trucks and emergency vehicles raced to the scene to help rescue residents and staff from the burning building. Early concern that gas was involved.
Apparently, it's a gas explosion. They said they have a large gas main actively leaking into the building.
Inside, firefighters radioing for help.
We need a rapid intervention team to the collapsed area. We have an active fire. We have 3 to 4 people trapped.
Moments later, the numbers go up.
We have 12 victims trapped, 1 in the elevator.
And there is an added worry. The basement is filling with water.
Need the basement water turned off urgently. We got people drowning down here.
Staff and neighbors gathered outside the burning building.
I just came out of my house because I was sitting in the kitchen and I just felt the whole floor shake.
Concerned for the patients and colleagues who may still be trapped.
Traumatized, worried about my co-workers and the patients. It's like a one big family in there.
Joey Juhas raced to the nursing home when he heard the news.
Horrible. It was just police and cops everywhere.
His father, in his 80s and battling Alzheimer's, is a resident at the home.
How hard is it to sit there waiting for answers?
You don't know what to do. You're just kind of waiting, and it's scary.
Those lucky enough to get out sat on the grass wrapped in sheets 2 days before Christmas, watching the terrifying scene unfold. Stephanie Gosk, NBC News.
In an update now to a tragic story we've been covering, the mother of Melodee Buzzard is behind bars this morning after being accused and arrested for the murder of her 9-year-old daughter. Officials told reporters they found Melodee's body in Utah more than 2 months after she disappeared. Now authorities begun to piece together what happened in Melodee's final days. NBC News correspondent Dana Griffin has those details.
A California mother behind bars accused of killing her own daughter.
That this level of criminal activity is particularly shocking given the ruthlessness that went into actually committing the crime.
Investigators revealing 9-year-old Melodee Buzzard died from gunshot wounds to the head. Her body discovered this month in a remote area of Wayne County, Utah. Video shows the 40-year-old mom being led away from her Santa Barbara County home in handcuffs. Investigators revealing Melodee likely died October 9th while on a 3-day road trip with her mother, Ashley. They were traveling in a white Chevy Malibu. The journey spanned 8 states. Along the way, investigators say the car's license plate was switched from California to New York to avoid detection. Investigators say the two were seen wearing wigs at this California car rental counter. On October 10th, Ashley returned home alone. Her daughter was nowhere to be found. 4 days later, Melodee's school alerted police after she had been absent. In November, Ashley Buzzard was arrested on false imprisonment charges not related to her daughter's disappearance. A judge later dropping the case, citing a lack of evidence.
The loss of a child is among the most profound tragedies any community can endure, particularly at the hand of the one who should have loved them the most.
A heartbreaking end to a months-long search. Dana Griffin, NBC News.
On this day before Christmas, millions of people in the Northeast are facing a messy mix of rain and snow. And then out west, a big stretch of California facing a dangerous storm that's prompting evacuation orders. It all comes during the busiest stretch of holiday travel. NBC's Sam Brock has the latest.
The timing could hardly be worse. A crush of Christmas travelers squaring off against severe weather on both sides of the country. In California, dire warnings from LA officials on the flood potential.
An atmospheric river is expected to deliver up to 10 inches of rain.
If you are told to evacuate, you've got to listen to them.
It's getting pretty bad. That atmospheric river already dumping more than 20 inches across parts of Northern California, creating scenes like this in Shasta, a car navigating feet of floodwater and bearing down on cities from San Francisco to San Diego. While on the East Coast, possible chaos for those on the move.
Like a herd of sheep just all being moved around.
Were you worried at all when you started to see some of the snow come down today and all the sleet?
I was terrified.
It's more dangerous on the interstate than it is in the air.
In fact, the rocky weather arriving at arguably the most dangerous driving time of the year. All of it adding up to a tricky trek home.
It's important to hang out with your family and, have a great Christmas.
Our thanks to Sam Brock for that report. And now let's get to NBC meteorologist Dylan Dreyer for that all-important holiday forecast. Dylan, good morning.
Good morning. We are going to see a really nasty storm continue to impact the West Coast, especially down through California. In fact, we do have some high risk of severe flooding, especially down through Los Angeles, including San Bernardino. This is a moderate to high risk of flash flooding. We are looking at up to 12 inches of rain throughout the course of this week. And once that continues to fall, it falls in the higher elevations and all of that water just washes down the mountains. And we are going to see the potential for landslides and mudslides, debris flows too. You can see as this cold front moves eastward, we're going to see a stream of moisture continue to move into California. So while we will see rounds of rain today, we're going to continue with rounds of rain tomorrow. Heavier rain impacts San Francisco, stretching right down into Los Angeles. We're going to see this rain just impact the entire California region all week long. So again, when we're looking at up to a foot of rain possible, we're also looking at about 4 to 8 inches or 4 to 8 feet of snow in the mountains, especially across the Sierra Nevada mountain range. Winds could gust up to about 35 to 55 miles per hour. So we are going to certainly see the impacts of that. Now, as we look across the rest of the country today, the snow across New England, that's going to exit. That's going to move on out. So most of the country is going to look great today. In fact, we're looking at record high temperatures across parts of the southern plains down through Texas. Amarillo, 79 degrees today. Kansas City, 65 degrees today. Chicago, even 45. So that's going to look really mild for today. Now, tomorrow, No white Christmas in sight for areas like the Midwest. Through the northern plains, Bismarck 31 degrees, so cooler, but you go down to Rapid City, 65 degrees. What a temperature difference there. The East Coast looks good for Christmas Day, although we could see a few flurries fly across down East Maine. That'll look beautiful for Christmas Day. Down across the Southeast, we're looking at temperatures in the 70s and 80s, but that storm system continues out west. Again, California is really just going to be hit hard with the rain and the mountain snow. Now, we are also going to see a chance of some snow as we go into Friday for the Northeast. If you're traveling, not so great, but if you're home, it looks beautiful. As we finish off the Christmas holiday, we are going to see perhaps accumulating snow into New York, into Pennsylvania, even into New Jersey. We could end up with about 4 inches or more of snow. So if you like that sort of thing, something to look forward to for Friday.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.